The home of the common Joe and the common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads.
Well, here we are again, this time in the backyard of the University of Alabama, here at Queen City Park. My house is unavailable to do a podcast today because got a lot of folks up in there today. So I wanted to run down here real quick and do a podcast on the Oklahoma recruiting situation because it just keeps blossoming. Either their recruits are making a big splash at Elite 11 camps, or they're going out and getting great recruits nationwide. And the narrative was Oklahoma was not going to be able to recruit nationwide or recruit offensive players under Brent Venables. Let's talk about it. How's it going again today, boys and girls in sporty land? This is JPC. I am the OCF. That's the outlaw of college football. And as I said before, I'm in the backyard of the University of Alabama out here at Queen City Park. Y'all can Google that. It's a nice little park. And today I just want to jump in here real quick because a lot of stuff is going on once again with Oklahoma recruiting. And I just made a video about this a few weeks back, but it just keeps blossoming, as I said before. The narrative was that Brent Venables' big holdback is like, yes, he's a great defensive coordinator and a great coach in the X's and O's, but his recruiting may not be up to speed, is what the big narrative was. But it seems like Brent has been shooting this down left and right. And just now here recently, Jackson Arnold has proven that not only was he a great recruit, but he won the Elite 11. The Elite 11, which is like considered one of the best camps of all camps that any quarterback can actually win. And I got a few notes here as this plane passes over. I mean, that's what you get when you try to do something from the outside, right? But Jackson Arnold beat out Dante Moore, Christopher Vicina, who is committed to Clemson, Austin Novosad, who's also committed to Baylor, and Malachi Nelson, you know, the decommit, the one that went out there with the Skittle shitters in USC. Old Malachi finished fourth. Not first, not second, not third, not... Sound like some bad LeBron shit, right? And Arch Manning didn't even show up. Now, what is it with Arch Manning and the Manning family? Now, I know they got their own little Manning camps, and some people's like, well, he has nothing to prove. Yeah, he does have something to prove. Just because you're a Manning doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be great. I mean, Cooper Manning wasn't really that great. So, you play at a very low level, and I'm not sure about the level of high school play he was at Louisiana. I do know it was one of the lower levels. I think it might have been a private school, might have been 2A or something like that. If you're playing that kind of competition week in and week out, then yes, you do need to be at these camps, Arch, to prove yourself. Or are you afraid? Are you scared? Are you scared that Jackson Arnold and Christopher Vicina and Austin Novosad and even Malachi Nelson might show your ass up? You do have something to prove. So if I was the Mannings, I would definitely think about putting him at least one camp that's not biased and not run by the Mannings, in my opinion. Now, like I said, others too that have won this award were Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, and I'm not sure, but I think Bryce Young might have won it, but I'm not sure about that. I know he was pretty high on it. Now, also, last week, the last few days, they've got a commitment from Samuel Omosigho, who's a 4-star, 5-star linebacker, I think, out of Crandale, Texas. He's got a 90 grade from 247 Sports. He's the number 20 linebacker overall, and he picked, get this, he picked the Sooners over Florida, Auburn, Nebraska, Oklahoma State, Washington, And my favorite. He picked them over, that's right, those Skittle shitters from L.A. Once again, Lincoln Riley has shown the propensity to lose out on another great defensive player. And now, from what I'm hearing from my podcast partner, Jonathan Lewis, he just broke this news to me today. They are about to get a commitment from a pretty damn good running back in West Charlotte, North Carolina, that being Daylan Smothers. That just goes to show you that when people were saying that Brent Venables was not going to be able to recruit nationally and recruit big states like Florida, Texas, and California, that shit's been shot to hell, man. Especially with Demarco Murray in the mix. Demarco Murray is fast becoming one of the best recruiters in the nation. Now, if he can equal that up with some great coaching, could see Demarco Murray getting his shot at a head coaching job rather soon, especially with the recruiting prowess that he's shown thus far. But one thing people have not taken into account with Brent Venables is he was already at Oklahoma for like 8 or 9 years. So he already knew the Oklahoma, Texas area. And that's why he's getting players from Texas like Oklahoma has always done. He's gotten players from Florida. And now North Carolina. Everybody forgets that he was at Clemson for quite some time. So he's built relationships on the eastern seaboard with the Clemson recruiting base that he used to recruit for. And it's showing right now by the fact that this guy, Daylan Smothers, from West Charlotte, North Carolina, is set to make a commitment to Oklahoma, from what Steve Wiltfong said, and my podcast partner Jonathan Lewis told me. Steve Wiltfong said that Daylan Smothers could could commit to Oklahoma within the next few days. More validating that Brent Venables and his staff can recruit nationwide. Now, Jackson Arnold, I like to come back to him for a second. This guy was rated as a 4-star to begin with, and he got himself up to a 5-star. Then he went and won this Elite 11 count. So that tells you that what? It tells you that Brent Venables didn't have to really pay attention to any 5-star ranking. That his staff knew that this guy was good enough. You've got to be able to evaluate these players like Jackson Arnold without being based solely upon these recruiting services. Now, while these recruiting services are pretty spot on most of the time, there's 70-80% of the time they're going to miss on somebody. And you've got to be able to evaluate these players yourself without looking at these recruiting rankings. And that's what they've done with Jackson Arnold, and he's proven that. He went from 4 to 5-star, and now he won the Elite 11, beating out the best competition in the nation outside of Arch Manning, who continues to dodge any kind of real competition, which if I was Texas fans, I'd be sort of worried about that. But that's all I got today. I just want to jump in here real quick and touch on that because it just keeps continuing to blossom and to impress on a national level. And Oklahoma's demise, I don't think it's going to come as soon as people thought. And with that, like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And as always, KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now dismissed.